G'day guys, it's Nick from HobbyKing again. Today we're launching the HobbyKing Premium Filament range. It's a new range of 6 different materials, PETG, polycarbonate, glass bend, a TPU98A, which is a new type of TPU, a nylon, and a few woods. It's made in Holland by one of Europe's largest polymer filament manufacturers. It's a quality assured product from the sourcing of the raw materials, to the manufacturing tolerances, right through to the labeling and packaging that's involved in the product. So it's a first grade product. All the filaments have REACH and RoHS compliance. They have a tolerance of plus or minus 0.05 millimeters and 95% roundness. One of the areas we spent a lot of time getting right was the labeling of these materials. There's nothing worse than having some filament in your cupboard and you're not quite sure what it is, what temperature to print it at, what temperature the bed needs to be at, etc. So what we've done is we've put all that information onto the box and onto the reel itself. So on each box, you have printed the material type. In this case, it's a PETG. Then you've got the color written here, which is green apple. Then you've got a color bar to show the actual color. Then you've got underneath the barcode, you've got the SKU number, which makes it much easier to search up if you want to reorder it. You've got the printing temperature, or the nozzle print temperature, and the bed temperature. You've got the weight of the reel, because these come in 500 gram and 1 kilogram reels. And you've got the diameter of the material itself. These are all 1.75, but it's handy to have that information there anyway. You've also got the batch number, which is important if you are doing a large print and you go through reels. You want to make sure you're using the same batch if you're continuing it on, so you don't get any batch variance in color. Then that information is also printed on the label on the reel itself. One of the other quality features of this filament is that they are all wrapped twice. So the cardboard box, as you can see here, is wrapped in plastic, and then the reel itself inside is also wrapped in plastic, and it has moisture absorbing silica gel in there. What I recommend is once you've unpacked it, keep it in the box, because you've got all the details about the filament on the outside of it, and keep the silica gel in there at the same time, just to store it for long term. But the idea of double wrapping it is that it gives it a longer shelf life, so by the time it gets to you, there shouldn't be any issues with it. And if you need to store it for a while, you can store it for a long time, because it's completely sealed in there. The first product, and probably the biggest part of this range, is our PETG product. Customers have been asking for a wider range of PETG colours for a while, and now we can offer 11 premium colours in this range. So the colours are black, Arctic white, sky blue, red, green apple, and then we've got transparent red, transparent blue, transparent black, transparent yellow, and transparent green, as well as a clear colour. Some of the features of PETG are that it's got high clarity, it's strong and flexible, it's got almost no warping when you're printing, it's hydrophobic, which means it doesn't absorb water, it's food contact acceptable, which means you can use it as a food vessel if you want to. It's also odor neutral, so when you're printing, you don't have a really strong odor coming out of it, which is a great feature. PETG can also be used on most printers, but it's recommended that you use a print bed at around 35 to 60 degrees Celsius. Overall, this is a really fantastic material. It might be a little bit more difficult to print than PLA, but not a lot, but it's certainly a lot easier to print than ABS. So if you haven't tried it before, try it out. It'll work on most of the printers we sell, and you'll get really good results with it. Okay, so next on the list is the polycarbonate. Polycarbonate, or PC, is a high-performance plastic that possesses a unique balance of toughness, dimensional stability, optical clarity, high heat resistance, and excellent electrical resistance. It's used in all sorts of things, from bulletproof shields to body shells for RC cars, to cookware, all sorts of stuff. Some of its great features are it has really good strength and stiffness. It's high optical clarity, so when you print it, it's sort of glass looking, so you can see through it quite well. It's got very good resistance to high temperatures, up to about 140 degrees Celsius, so you could theoretically make a teacup out of it if you really wanted to. It's got low flammability. It's tested to UL 94 V2, which means you could use it in an area that there's the slight possibility that a flame's going to get near it. You certainly wouldn't use it for putting in front of your fireplace or something like that. We recommend polycarbonate for more experienced users, as it does require a heated bed of up to 110 degrees Celsius, and the print temperature is between 270 and 290 degrees Celsius. So you need a pretty high-end printer to meet those specs, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get a very high failure rate with it. But when it does print, it prints incredibly well. Next up, we have a product called Glass Bend. Now, Glass Bend is a crystal clear, strong, flexible and easy to print material. Its features are it's got 92% light transmission. As you can see, it's almost like glass. It's very flexible. It's not quite TPU flexible, but still very, very flexible. It's strong. It's got very good interlayer adhesion. There's no crazing when it's bent, so if you've got a piece that you need to stretch into shape, it won't craze. It's food contact acceptable, so you could use it for a plate or a bowl or something like that. And it has virtually no warping when printing, so it's super easy to print. These characteristics, along with its fire retardant properties, make it a super useful material, especially if you need a bit of flex involved and you don't mind using clear. Glass Bend can be used on any printer with a heated bed that can go to 70 to 90 degrees Celsius, and it prints at about 235 to 250 degrees Celsius, depending on your printer and the nozzle you're using. So, great material, looks cool, performs really well, well worth giving it a try. Okay, next up we have a special TPU product called TPU 98A. Now, this is a flexible filament for easy high-speed printing on both direct and Bowden style 3D printers. Now, we've tested on the Minifab and it'll work, but it's touch and go, basically because the tube is a little bit short and has quite a kink to it. However, on something like a Tronsky that's got a long Bowden tube, it works really, really well. TPU features an exceptionally high heat resistance, about 138 degrees Celsius, and it can be stretched as far as 450% of its own length before reaching its breaking point. One of the cool things about TPU 98A is it doesn't require the use of a heated bed. It can even be printed straight onto clean glass. Some of the features of it, it's strong and flexible. It works on direct and Bowden style 3D printers, as we said before. It can print at speeds of up to 75 millimeters per second, which is fantastic for TPU. It has an exceptionally high softening point at 138 degrees. It's got 450% elongation, which we've mentioned before, and it's got really good resistance to oils and greases and microorganisms. It's also fantastic for printing watertight items because it's really easy to print and it's flexible, so it holds water really well. We've got it in 7 different colors. So it's available in clear, black, white, red, dark blue, skin tone pink, and silver. It's printed at 225 to 250 degrees Celsius, so most printers are going to be able to do that pretty easily. And as I said before, it doesn't require a heated bed. I tried printing it onto blue tape and it was really hard to get the blue tape off. It stuck so well. So it's great for printing onto a straight surface. Next up, we have our nylon. This is called PACX12 nylon, highly technical name. It's our high performance nylon filament with a broad range of mechanical and chemical properties. These properties include high impact, even at low temperatures, crack and scratch resistance, food and water contact acceptable, it's got superior chemical and weathering resistance, It has very low water absorption and excellent dimensional stability. It is the perfect combination of printability and mechanical properties. The nylon is one of the best solutions for industrial grade applications that need to last. So if you've got a part that you want to make for a particular project, this is the material you want, especially if it's a wear and tear object like a gear or a prop or a wheel or something like that. Nylon is an excellent material for that. A lot of the parts we sell in the store are made of nylon for that very reason. At this stage, the nylon is only available in clear, black and white. We may add more colours as the technical abilities of our factory expand, but at this stage it's just those three colours. One of the unique things about nylon is it does need to be treated before you print it. For best results, PACX12 needs to be dried. A standard air circulated oven, so a fan forced oven, is sufficient. Put it in the oven for 2 to 3 hours at 110 to 130 degrees Celsius for 100 grams. Just don't put the whole reel in because the reel will actually melt at that temperature. So you've got to take it off the reel and do it at 100 grams at a time. Then it requires a heated bed, quite a high heated bed, 80 to 100 degrees Celsius, and it prints at quite a high temperature as well, at 240 to 260 degrees Celsius. Now, if you have a printer that's capable of doing that, and you're willing to put in the preparation work for this material, it's a really, really good material. It just takes a little bit more time, a little bit more experience to use, but the results are well worth it. Okay, and last up, we have our wood filament. Now, wood is a modified PLA based filament that smells and feels like wood. It does actually have wood particles in it. The filament is tough and prints very easily, even with common 0.4 millimeter nozzle, because the wood particles aren't big enough to block the nozzle. We believe this is one of the best, if not the best, performing wood filaments on the market. Because of the way it prints incredibly well. This is great for doing things like statues or anything you want to give a sort of organic sort of feel to it. It's very difficult to see the layering because of the wood particles, so you do get a very, very good wood effect to them when you print it. So some of the features of this wood material are that it smells and feels like wood. Obviously you can't smell it, but and you can't feel it either. But it does smell and feel like wood. It is quite brittle. You can snap it off very, very easily. So you do want to print it reasonably slowly, especially if you're using a Bowden tube. It's got very low warping. It's biodegradable. It's easily printed with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. And it comes in 4 basic colours. So we've got black wood, which is a bit darker than this. We've got the natural dark wood, which is this one here. You've got natural light wood, and you've got copper green wood. Due to its low tendency to warp, wood can also be printed without a heated bed, which is really cool. If you have a heated bed, you can use it, and the recommended temperature is around about 35 to 60 degrees Celsius. And we also advise that you use a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. Anything smaller than that might be a little bit tough to print this, but most printers come with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle anyway, so it's pretty straightforward. The print temperature is between 205 and 235 degrees Celsius, and it has a melting point of around about 150 degrees Celsius. So you wouldn't use this for something that's going to be in a high heat situation. Okay, so that's wood. So that's, in a nutshell, the HobbyKing premium filaments. Now, this is the range so far. There are others coming later in the year, and we will probably be adding a PLA, a special type of PLA and a special type of ABS later on during the year, as well as some metals. So keep an eye out for those. So try them out. They're really high quality filaments, so you won't have any issues printing with them, and you'll really enjoy the results you get from them. This really opens up the world of 3D printing to a whole bunch of new uses, and I'm really excited to introduce this range. So that's it from me today. Don't forget to have a look at the links below for further details on these products, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great products, tips and tricks. See you next time.